When I was doing my stocking up late summer, early fall, I really felt I had enough flour, and then I sort of made a decision to buy one more bag of flour. I think this is a 5-pound bag, and I thought, well, I'll just have it as a backup. As it turns out, I used up all my flour for Christmas baking and had to dig into this 5-pound flour bag, which I really did not expect. So I keep it in the freezer, and I'm going to fill up this container, this big half-gallon container with white flour, so I have it on the shelf there. Pretty surprised. I really did not expect to use as much flour as I did. I don't know how much I used. I had an extra pound in the freezer that I pulled out and used, and just ended up being a lot more flour than I thought. Fortunately, I bought most of it earlier in the year because flour has gotten expensive like everything else. The same thing had happened with sugar. I was going to buy a few months ago just 5 pounds of sugar, and it was so expensive that I ended up getting 10 pounds at Walmart just because the 10-pound amount was more reasonable per pound. So I'm glad I did that too. And I put some of it in here, some of the extra, and now I'm going to be putting it into my half-gallon for the pantry because I have used up all that sugar in baking. So I'm going to open this and start pouring it in very slowly. Let's see how this goes. Oops. Wondering if I can fit the rest into another half-gallon, but I'll see. I think next time I'm going to put this into half-gallon. Whatever's left over, I'll put in my tea sugar. I'm just not sure, so I'm going to leave it here. This is good to go, however, ready for the pantry and for any incidental sugar needs. I had quite a few cookie mixes and some brownie mixes and all sorts of stuff in here, and I used most of them up. I'm going to a Christmas party, I think, in another week or so, so I'm going to be using these too, finishing these up. But I got some new ones at Dollar Tree, so I'm going to put them in. This is how I store my cake mixes, by the way. I take them out of the box and just put the directions right there. It takes up less room. So I have some muffin mixes, which I'm going to make into mini loaves, and some cookie mixes. Just going to keep them for emergencies, if somebody comes over or if I need to make something extra. Well, I got everything in, including the gingerbread cookies, which I'm going to be making, and I slid the blueberry muffins here, which I'll make into a mini loaf. I wasn't sure I could get it all in, but I did, so I'm going to put the cover on and put that in the pantry too. I really hit the jackpot at Walmart. These bags of, I think they're 4-pound bags of sugar were $2 each, so I got 4 of them, so 16 pounds for $8. Generally, it's like 10 pounds is $8, so I have to figure out where to put them. So operating on first in, first out, I had a 10-pound bag of sugar I got from Walmart some time ago, and I put it in here, but I'm going to start putting it in these containers that go on the pantry shelf, and then put the new sugar in there. I'm going to top this one off for starters. I have several containers like this, and hopefully what's left in here will go so I can put the new sugar in here. Keep your fingers crossed. Okay, we're good. Here's another 10-gallon, or here's another half-gallon. Maybe this will all fit in there. What do you know? I think it will. Maybe it overflowed a little bit. Well, it's definitely over a little bit, so I'm going to try to scoop some of this off the top, and whoops. I'm trying. Came out so fast. Anyway, scoop some of this off the top and put it in my sugar for tea here. We're better now. I'm going to start dumping these 4-pound bags into this big container. My backup to the backup. I don't like having anything in bags. I live out here in the woods and there's rodents and all sorts of goofy things. So I like these containers. They're from Walmart and they are very thick plastic. They haven't let me down yet. There's one 4-pounder. I think I can get 2 or 2.5 in here. And here's another one going out. I still have some room, so I'm going to put part of this next bag in there, and then I have another 1/2 gallon jar I'll be using to get as much in here as possible. That's good enough. All right, we're back with the big jars. Well, half of that's about half of the jar, maybe 1/3 of the jar. I'm going to start pouring the rest of this 4-pound bag in here, and whatever's left over I'll put in another jar. There. I have this big jar from Costco. It had this honey citron and ginger tea, which was really good, but I finished it and the jar is, I think, is going to be big enough for this. I was going to use a quart jar, but I don't think a quart jar is big enough, so let's keep our fingers crossed. Perfect. Look at that. So all my sugar is packaged away and accounted for. So it's hot cocoa time. I bought my cocoa at Walmart in bulk and took it out of the sort of cardboard container it was in and put it in this container, the glass container. But the small one that I keep by here by my sink and electric kettle is getting low, so I'm going to take some out of here and put it in here, and then I'm going to have to transfer this to a smaller jar. This Walmart hot cocoa is actually good, and I like the fact that it's bulk like this. It's less expensive, I think, this way, and you can take as little or as much as you want. So I'm going to fill this one up. I have it. And this will do. The rest will go into this quart jar. This jar might be a little bit big, but the other jar is too small. Sometimes there's just a disconnect between the two different sizes, so I'm just going to put it in the quart jar. Whoops. No, it might be okay. Actually, the quart jar was just fine. I'm going to wash this one out, and I'm going to take the label off of this and put it onto the onto this jar so I remember what it is. This worked out just fine. This will go in the pantry. I recently dehydrated some marshmallows. Can you hear them? They're really good and crunchy, and they're great in hot chocolate, but I don't want to be opening and closing and reopening this bigger container, so I'm going to take some of them out and put it in a smaller container, which will go here by the hot chocolate, right by the sink, and then the rest I'm going to seal up again. They just dissolve like immediately, and they're so much easier to store. I put these through the funnel, but my funnel's all wet. I just washed it, so we'll try this scoop. I should get more scoops. I just have this big, huge one. I have some, I think, in my flour containers. These are not as... Maybe one more scoop. One more small scoop. So this is nice, ready, right by the hot cocoa here and the tea kettle, and the rest will go back into the pantry. It was a busy, busy grandchildren day today. My 2 granddaughters came to visit, and I made one of them hot chocolate, and the high point was I let her pick out whatever marshmallows she wanted for the hot chocolate. I have those Dollar Tree Christmas marshmallows. So we opened this up, and boy, that was a hit. I'm going to put them now in a better container because I don't like this plastic bag. I mean, they're really cute. Look at that. It's a little candy cane. A little Christmas tree. And there was, I think, a snowman. Let me see if I can find out. This might be the snowman. Kind of looks like the Christmas tree. I'm not, oh, actually, you know what? This is the Christmas tree. They all kind of look alike. They're squished, but they're really good in hot cocoa, and it was a huge hit. So I'm going to ask you guys a question. I was reading someplace that that if you want to keep things in a mason jar without doing any sort of oxygen absorption or anything different, it's better to have the metal lids than those plastic lids. So I'm using the metal lids. This will keep the air out better, like this, instead of, you know, a plastic lid like this. I've got plastic lids for this size and plastic lids for the large size. Do you know if this is true or not? I'm going to presume it is, because I want to keep these marshmallows fresh. I've been eating steel-cut oats in the morning lately, and I eat it with brown sugar. And here it is. This brown sugar is in too big a container. And I'm going to put it in the smaller container. If it doesn't all fit, I'll put the rest in a real small container for here on the counter. And I'm wondering, you know, what I just said about the plastic lids instead of the metal ones, because when the brown sugar's in the bag, it stays nice and soft, and when I put it in the container, it gets really hard. And this did actually have a plastic lid on it, just like that. So I'm going to put a metal lid on it and see if it keeps the whatever makes it harden up from doing that. I had a real problem with one of these when I was doing all the Christmas baking. I pretty much almost needed a hacksaw to get in there. Once you get in there, it's okay, but it was something. I'd like to prevent that from happening. I'm really going to investigate this metal lid thing. I think I'm also going to get one of those mason jar oxygen absorber things. It fits on top of the mason jar. You need to have a metal one, but it sucks the oxygen out for certain items. All right, well, that's full. So I'm going to put that away in the pantry, and I'm going to find another one to fill up the rest of it. This looks to be about the right size. I have to get some of that goof off. I've got some of it down under the sink, and some of my glass jars, just that last vestige of glue or whatever, doesn't come off when I'm taking the label off. I suppose they put the labels on really hard like that so they don't fall off in shipping. But it's annoying if you want to reuse the jar and you've got the labels and the label residue. For this, I don't care if it's you know, plastic or metal, because I'm going to be using it pretty quick. Well, it's tea time again. I actually have another Amazon order coming, I think, soon. And in addition to this great English breakfast tea, I'm going to be getting the Earl Grey tea too, the loose leaf. I was at a friend's house right before Christmas, and we had some Earl Grey tea, and I forgot how much I loved it. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Just a nice change. And I like the loose leaf too. And I managed to spill some. And here's my final fill up for now. I had a small amount of rice there on the in the pantry, and I used some, and I'm just going to put this in a smaller container and use up what I have before I open anything else up. There we go. I really like rice. I should probably keep this on the counter here so I remember to use it more often. Anyway, hoping you are all well, and I'll see you at the next pantry fill up, if not sooner. Thank you so much for watching.